Hey guys, LechK here. In this video I'm going to show you how to install a new kitchen countertop in your kitchen. So this is the one we have from our original kitchen build, which is about 12 years old now. And time to go with these countertops. If you have to really maintain these pretty well for them to last, but 12 years I would say that's not bad. The only issue we had is all this mold buildup. Wood deterioration all around the sink here. So we're going to do something to prevent that for the future, but I'm going with wood again, just better quality, thicker. So step one, get the top drawers out, empty everything out so I can remove this top countertop and screw from the bottom, which I'll show you guys in a second. Get rid of the sink, and then I'll show you guys how to cut your new countertop, install it, and install the sink. And check out for any related videos to this as well, maybe like the faucet install, which I maybe do a separate video. And if you're interested in how installing the stove and other stuff, I have all the videos on that as well on the channel. Let's get started. Alrighty, so I'm pretty much prepped for removal now. Just took the top drawers out, and as you see, these are the hinges that are basically holding the countertop to your cabinets. So we got a couple here. Then we got a couple here. This is how the sink is mounted if you guys are curious, but we're gonna install that later. And then we got some here that are pretty water damaged, so we're gonna be doing some cleanup. And that's about it. And then in this big cabinet here, this is the separate piece we're gonna be installing. So we gotta get that one out. So we got a couple here and a couple here. And we also have this little piece. So because of that, we're gonna have to slide the oven out, but that's not a big deal. All right, I'm gonna pop those off. Then we'll start removing the sink. I gotta get rid of all this grout. It'll just be easier to remove the countertop. You got a grout remover tool like this, or you can use one of these guys, or a knife, whatever you got. Just cut it so you disconnect it from the wall, clean it up, and then we can pop the countertop off. This old IKEA countertop is only 1 inch high. My new ones are 1.5. So even if I have imperfections here, it's gonna cover it all up. To make the removal easier, we're gonna take the sink out first. So under the sink, you're gonna see these clips that are holding it. So you basically gotta unscrew them and pull them off. So it's not holding the countertop. Like over here, basically it's off already. And then we'll take the pipes out. All right, we're removing the sink now. First, you wanna turn off the water before you do anything. You might want to put a rag here, as when you disconnect these, there will be a lot of water still in the pipes that will leak out. We're going to use a bucket to drop this, so when any water comes out, you don't make a mess. This I'm gonna leave for now, worry about it later, depending on how we do the new connection. But now we just disconnect the water. Adjustable wrench will do the job. Now we can pull the sink out. So now with the faucet removed, we can take it out. But I realized this is pretty much glued on. At this point, we can try to like pry it off, but I don't think there's a point. We can just take the whole countertop off with it. As I'm gonna cut it off here, and then maybe reuse this for like an outside table or something. Let's do it. Countertop removed. And that's really it. It's just by these hinges, pop it off. No need for silicone or anything on the bottom, just when you connect it, which we'll do later. Now we clean all this up and prep for the install. Alrighty, so this section is all prepped for install now. Sits right on top of your cabinets like you see it. All I gotta do is just slide the oven out and do this little piece as well. So I pulled the oven out just enough so I have access, but I don't want to stretch this pipe out too much. I did turn it off, my valve, just in case. And once you put everything back, it's good to always test for leaks again, just in case, just to be safe. But I'm not disconnecting this in my case. Alrighty, so our first piece is done. All I'm gonna have to do is seal this gap here, silicone it, because before I had this under the backsplash as I did backsplash after. Since now I'm doing it on top of it, it's thicker pieces. I'm gonna have to seal it all up nicely. Alright, now let's do the main part. Alrighty, so now we can install the countertops, but before we start placing them down, you wanna place your brackets onto your cabinet so it's easier to connect them to the bottom of the countertop after. So since I was just replacing, I actually didn't have to remove them off the cabinet itself, but I wanted to show you guys, how the install goes as well. So you're gonna need a drill with like a 1/8 bit or so you can pre-drill holes so you don't damage your wood in the cabinets and split it, or in the countertop, and the brackets and screws. The one that's like this goes on the cabinet, so that way you can adjust it up and down if you screw it too low, too high. So we're not going to fully secure that as well, right? Then the wide one goes for the counter, so if you need to move the counter left and right, away from the wall towards the wall, that'll help you adjust it. So this is the type of bracket you would actually need for this install to make it easy for yourself. So we're going to pop this one in. If you're using a drill, use it on the lowest setting, and don't screw it all the way so you don't strip the hole. And you can finish it off by hand. A little loose is fine, because I want to be able to go up and down with this to adjust it to the countertop. So that's how you install the brackets. I'm going to pop one in here and all the other spots like it was, and then we can put them on. So here's where we're going with the new setup. We got the long and the short piece that I'll need for my setup. Picked this up in Home Depot. Found this to be a better price actually than like online or Amazon. and it's still 1.5 inch high, which you preferably want. And then we have the 4-foot section here. The 8-foot is actually a little longer than I needed, so it's going to be that little extra piece that I need as well. So we're going to stain this. So I got the stain. I'm also going with a new sink. This looks pretty solid, so I went with it. I'll do probably a separate video of installing this. I might show it here if it doesn't take too long. And we're going to stain it like this. So first thing I'm going to do is do a test. And then this is to seal it for food grade use. We're not going to cut on the countertops, but you know, as that goes. So I'm going to open these up, see how the stain looks, and then we can keep going. So the prep work with these butcher blocks is pretty simple. I mean, you cut it just with a regular circular saw. That's what I did in the past. One thing you want to do is you just want to finish with whatever you're doing within 48 hours of opening the plastic up. Not sure how serious that is, honestly, but worst case, you can always sand it down if something's off and then give it a finish. So the surface on these blocks is pretty much finished already. This is going to be my back underside. So there's a little imperfections here, which I'm not worried about because it's going to be hidden. But I'm going to test it first, how the finish looks on it. But before I do that, I got some 220 grit sandpaper. And I'm just going to smooth and round off the edges so they're not as sharp. You can also hit them with a router and all that to give some nice finish, but I just want it straight cut like it is. So we'll do the bottom. If you see any imperfections, sand it down. And then we'll just give it a wipe. If you have a tack-free cloth, that might help. But besides that, we'll be ready to stain. Here's the stain we're going with. And let's see what comes out of this. You don't want to use polyurethane. This is what you want right here for the stain. This is the gel type, so as you see, this is how it's going to be even if you mix it. Make sure you have the right brush for it. This is oil-based, if I didn't mention, so you need a thinner for cleanup. See what we get. So actually, first you want to go against the grain, just to get it into the cracks. And now we're going to go with it. Give it about 2 to 5 minutes. Wipe off the excess with a cloth, and then see if you want to go through it again. I'm going to finish this up, show you guys the next steps. Like I said, 2 to 5 minutes, wipe off the excess. And this is what we got. That's my test side, but I don't think I'm going to go any darker than that. If you do want to go darker, if you want to do another coat, then you got to give it a couple hours, and then you can recoat it. And now I'm doing the actual top side, but it's good to coat both sides. I think they recommend it just to seal the wood somehow. But regardless, I'm doing both. I can always choose which side I want to use when I'm installing. Don't forget to get the edges as well. So this one's gonna dry now. Looks good. Now I'm gonna do the big one. First the back, then the top. There you go. You got a stained countertop. Like I mentioned, you still gotta seal it, but I'm gonna do that once I install it. So I'll show you guys that as well as at the end when it's all done. Alrighty, so this thing has the option of being mounted under your counter, which is this template right here that you use to trace to cut the hole in your countertop, or over the counter, meaning the lip of the sink sits on top of your counter, which I'm doing. So this is the template I'm using. I position it to where I want my sink to sit. Now tape it down so I make sure I trace it evenly and nothing moves around. It's all traced out. Now we can go outside and cut, which I'll show you guys next. So I'm using a guide to make sure I get a clean cut. I got my smaller piece already measured out, and I'm just gonna cut it off. Make sure you have a nice sharp blade, and that's it. All right, so now we gotta cut the opening for the sink. I already cut the edges. So what you're gonna need, preferably an edge guide, circular saw for most of your cuts. And then you're gonna need one of these guys as well to get the little corners here finished, because you're not gonna finish that with the circular saw. So I'm gonna cut these, and then we'll finish the edges with the reciprocal saw, and we'll be all good. One advice, when you do it just like what I did, hold it strong because it can kick back on you. And now we just go up and down. Switch to this side. I'm going to repeat the same thing for the other 3 sides, and we can do the edges. Now, as you see, we got 4 spots we gotta cut out, and then the whole thing will drop out, and you technically have a nice cutting board out of it. This will get covered, so don't worry about it if you make a little mistake. There we go, guys. Sink cutout is done. You have a nice countertop cutting board out of this piece, clean it up. Now we're just gonna sand off all the edges, clean it up, and we'll be ready for install. So now a good idea is to test fit your cut before you do actual install, which we are nice and flush. Yep, that will do it. Those are the mounting tabs. The clips are gonna connect to the countertop. So as long as they're opened up, visible, we are good. Okay, so one more step before I put down the countertop. And this is to seal the section where my sink is gonna sit, to give it extra protection with this, some polyurethane interior version. This is obviously not food grade, but I'm just putting it around the sink section. So basically gives me a little more protection. Like you saw with my old countertop, over time, it degraded basically. So this will help protect it from all of that. So I'll put a couple coats down and then we'll be ready to move on. And that's that. This is gonna have a satin finish, so it probably won't be that glossy like it is right now. So it should blend in pretty nicely. But regardless, this is to protect it from moisture, which should help tremendously. Tomorrow we install. Alright, so we got our first piece up. I'm gonna test fit it, make sure it all lines up with the stove here and this. Then we'll bring the other one, make sure it all matches up. If it does, we'll line it up with brackets, pre-drill the holes under, and then we can fully install it. So that's perfect. Nice flush against the wall. Probably just a thin bead of silicone, maybe even clear, so no water gets back there. I'm not putting any silicone under here because then you'll never remove this probably and rip up your cabinets. All you're doing is silicone on top, so we'll show you guys that next. First, I want to line up my second piece here to make sure this is all level and even. All right, so we brought up the other piece. 2 people for a piece this big, I recommend strongly, so you don't damage it bringing it up. And line it up as well. You have a nice flush finish. All I'm gonna do is put a little shim under here like I had before, because it's just a little bit off here. Probably the cabinet is sagging. And as you see, this is a little shinier because this is the one around the sink section that I finished with the polyurethane to help with the moisture, as you saw before the issue. So that looks great. We're not doing the rest of it like this because we will be putting food on this. So I'm gonna just finish it with a food grade oil, which I'll show you guys after. But this looks good. I'm gonna do the shim, then I'll drill the pilot holes before we do the screws. And the one thing I'm gonna do is also test fit my sink to make sure that this is not in my way to get it mounted. So I did just test fit the sink and everything lines up except this little wedge here. So we're gonna just cut that out with a jigsaw. So now you want to pre-drill pilot holes for your screws so you don't damage or crack your counter. So we're just going to go to each one and do that. Alright, so now we can start screwing in the counters from the bottom. One thing I added in this connection point here that I didn't do before, put a little plate here, connected it from under, just to keep it all stronger together. And now I'm also gonna put silicone here, just to make a waterproof connection between the boards. Here's what I'm using. Crystal clear version. And I'm also probably going to use the same thing to seal the edges against the tile. Peach, do you approve? Thank you. No, you don't? What's the problem? Okay, I'll fix it. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to seal off the connection here, and then we can screw everything down. That should do it. I might run a bead up top later, but we'll see. I'll just squeeze it right against it. It's actually coming out, so that's perfect. That's what we want. And it's gonna give me a nice seal. Or we'll just add on a little bit up top right now, so I can wipe it. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna screw everything down, see any excess comes out, clean it up. So at this point we are pretty much set. Everything is screwed in now. Like I showed you guys. That extra plate I was talking about, all under here. And then all these guys. And now we're just gonna hit it with the silicone at the edges. And we are done. Alrighty, so now we're gonna run a bead of clear all around and seal it up. If you're doing maybe other color than white, it's good to hit it with some masking tape on the wood so you have a nice clean finish, less cleanup. But with this, I should be fine. Wet sponge makes your life a lot easier. There you go. All done. And now we are going with this setup right here. Here's the model number. This is the 25-inch model. They also have a 33-inch. For my cabinet, that's the biggest I could go. But honestly, this looks like it's gonna be big enough. Pick this up in Home Depot. I'll put a link below. I was gonna go with one of the Amazon brands, but honestly, I wanted something heavy duty that will last. So this is a whole set. Came with the drainer, with the rack here, the strainer rack, drain, decorative cover, cutting board. We'll see if it's useful. And then I'm also gonna be trying out this new plumbing kit, see how it works, since the drain here is all the way to the left, not in the middle, so I can't use the standard setup I had. So we'll see how this kit works. And then I'm gonna quickly show you guys the faucet as well. I went with the same brand. It's stainless steel, spotless stainless steel with some black finish. So we'll get to that shortly. Alrighty, so countertop is cut now. We are ready to install the sink. We are going to be using top mount brackets, not the under mount, because the sink is sitting on top of the counter. And this is what they look like. So basically, for all these hinges that are around the sink that we have to have space under to connect it under our countertop. I'm gonna take this hinge. This is gonna slide on. Show you guys here because it's gonna be hard to show you guys when I'm under the sink. So we're gonna snap this on just like this. And now that's not going anywhere. And now this hook is basically gonna hook under your counter, and you're gonna screw this down to tighten it down. So in addition to that, we're also gonna run a bead of silicone under the sink. It's gonna sit against this, so we get a nice good seal, especially since this is wood. And I did, you guys can see the difference, a little shinier. I did coat this section where the sink is gonna sit with polyurethane, just to give me that better waterproof finish. But the rest of it will be finished with a food grade oil. So if we have any food under, you know, we're safe and all that. So let me pop it in and we'll start installing. Just to add, in addition to counting the countertop, your cabinets under, you gotta make sure you trim enough so those hinges have space to connect. So I'm gonna start with a test fit just to see how it fits and looks. We'll take a look under, see if we have space for everything. Let's take a look. Okay, so those hinges we can access. This one I already put out so you guys get the idea. And now we're gonna have to probably adjust this because I can't. Oh no, they're right there. We might actually be okay. Because the little bracket moves a little bit, so I should be able to hook it. We'll test it in a sec. And then over here, looks like we got enough space to connect the faucet. We might be okay. Alrighty, so I got my side clips on, but the front and back, from the top to the bottom of the clip, I have 2 inches to work with. Since I'm using 1.5 inch counters plus another 3/4 here, it's gonna be just too long for it to reach. So I'm gonna try to extend them with zip ties. But I'm gonna have 4 on the sides done right. And then the front and back will adjust it like that, and I think that should be enough. With the silicone, that's not going anywhere. And here is what I'm talking about. Now I'm extended, so I have enough space to work with. And then I can still tighten it down with the screw. Alrighty, take 2. And as you see now, My little zip tie extension, I have plenty of space to work with. So I'm gonna hook to this, tighten it down. Same over here. Same in the front. And then the sides. And the sink is secure. Just gonna put a bead of silicone first, and we can do it. I got more than enough silicone around. This is what I'm using. That's what I use also to seal the countertops. Crystal clear. So now I'm gonna get under, tighten up all the screws, and then wipe off the excess. So that's what it's gonna look like while you tighten it down. I'm gonna try to show you guys one extension. If you need it, if you're using a drill. And there we go. Do all 8 of them and you are done. So at this point, our sink is mounted. Now before I do the actual plumbing, I'm gonna install the faucet, as it's gonna be easier to get to it than when I have the drain pipes there. It's pretty simple. It's pretty much already all assembled. This is the spotless stainless steel with the flat black finish. It's gonna go nice with the kitchen theme over here. We got our water lines. We got a line for the extension. That should connect to another piece. Right there it is right there. This is the weight, so it pulls the expendable sink back down or in. But anyway, it's gonna go right here in the middle. This is all nice and metal, so that's a nice plus. I'm gonna remove this piece, and we're gonna use these washers to hold it against our sink. Alrighty, I got our washers off, and this setup is pretty much the same for any type of faucet you get, especially of this type. But basically, now, since we have the washers off, this section is gonna sit right on top of here. Slide all the cables through, which I'll do in a second. From the bottom, this rubber washer will grab from the bottom there. Then we're going to put the metal one over it, and then we're going to tighten up with this. Once we tighten as much as we can by hand, we're going to tighten up with these Phillips screws. Then we're going to connect the water lines, cold, hot, connect these two together, install the weight, and we'll be all set. Let's go. Here's what it looks like under. So now we just gotta get all these washers through these again. And then just gonna screw it all the way on. tighten it up. Align the sink up top. Tighten it up as much as you can. It would help if somebody's holding it up top, just so you guys know. But it's doable. I'm just gonna align it as I want it. There we go, and now we can tighten it up. So tighten the ring as much as you can, and then we'll hit it with a Phillips screwdriver, finish it off. And it's not going anywhere. Alright, next step. Alright, next we're going to install the weight, and all you do is grab this clip, make sure it's pointing up, grab it, put it on the mark where it says weight here, slide it on, you take your weight, you slide it from the top, and it locks in, and there you go. That's going to keep your faucet nice and down. If you need to adjust it, adjust it. This is just the recommended spot they tell you. We're going to connect this quick connector. There we go. And now we just have to connect our water lines. Hot and cold, with adjustable wrench, and we're done. Make sure the mesh filter net is here. It's to protect any debris getting into your faucet, damaging it. These things are usually 1/2 inch, but if your pipes aren't or this isn't, you might have to get adapters. But just screw these right on. And you don't need Teflon tape here because you have the rubber washers. So that's why I didn't use any. I know that comment's gonna come up. And now we just tighten it, but tighten it just enough. Don't overdo it. Once you feel resistance, you should be good. You don't want to break the rubber washer. Pretty much for the faucet install. We're gonna test it in a minute. I'm just gonna install my drain pipes over here, and when that's all done, we'll be ready to test it. It should be really, the soap dispenser should be really easy to install. All you do is gotta pop off this little tab we got here. Put a little tube in there with the end cut on angle goes to the bottom of the bottle. Let me just pop this in. We're going to screw it in from the bottom, screw in the bottle, and that's done. Alrighty, so we got the faucet installed now. Now we're going to start doing the drain and then the plumbing on the bottom. So this is something new I want to show you guys, because usually you use plumber's putty, all this stuff. But this design is different. This goes under. This is the seal. This will go under the sink. This foam gasket is what you're replacing plumber's putty with. Interesting. We'll see how it works. You're going to drop it on top, and then we just tighten it down with this. This screw was so wide I didn't have a flat head. So I took one of my files, filed down, smoothed the top. So I made a custom screwdriver to fit it basically. Let's put it in. It's definitely a quick process. All right, now we'll do the bottom plumbing and see if this actually holds the water. The process is definitely easy. All right, so now, as you guys can see, to the left, not straight under. So I'm gonna try that new kit I mentioned to install this. Yeah, just going through the kit right now. As you can see the difference in quality. These are nice silicone rubber instead of pretty much plastic washers. So everything feels like it's gonna be nice quality and easy to install. Let's get it installed. So the distance from here and here is not that close, but because of this kit includes such a long pipe, it's gonna make it very tight to get all this set up. They do give you this kit that basically you put this into the drain pipe, tighten it down, and that's how you connect it to your wall pipe. But my wall pipe is too long, so what I'm gonna do is cut my wall pipe and use the rubber connector there included, which you basically just put on like this and clamp it down, which I actually like better. And you would use that when you don't have the threading, which we won't after I cut this off. So let me do that and then we'll install. But just to show you guys, that's what it would look like if you use the thread options, which is the most common one to install this elbow with. So, unscrewing the pipe didn't work because the whole thing broke, and this is why. Now I know my drainage wasn't the best, so we're gonna get all that fixed up now. Look at that. We gotta clean all that out in there, get in there as much as we can, do a connector, and then we can set up our drain. So back from Home Depot, came up with two options. I was going to throw down a new elbow to our pipe because I still had some thread left, but then I noticed there was a hole there as well. So that's not happening. So my backup option was, we got a 1.5 inch adapter, which I actually like this option better. I'm gonna connect it right there. I'm gonna connect a few inches of PVC pipe, and then our kit will connect nicely to that. It's gonna be easier for cleanup, easier for maintenance and all that, and definitely easier to install. Alrighty, we are back in business. I actually like this setup a lot better. I'm gonna close this up later once I make sure there's no leaks. But now, let's do the install. Alrighty, let's install. So, for the wall, we're not doing this screw on now. We're doing this, since we have the new pipe set up. Just like that. Now we're gonna connect this piece right into the wall. That should do it. Now we can connect our elbow. Make sure you have your gasket over here. Trap, I mean, not elbow, same thing. All right, I'm gonna figure out where this goes, so we'll leave it like this for now. Now, connect our drain. So, taking this piece, put the gasket inside it. Screw this on. And everything's done by hand. That's too much. All right, that's good. Now, this piece, first one up, washer, tapered end on the bottom. It's gonna sit in here. Now our main hose. So this is gonna sit like this. And then this one will connect right here. Make sure you have your washer here as well. Now we adjust as we need it. We tighten everything up and we should be good to go. And here's a close-up of the whole install. I might, since this is flexible now and this pipe is stiff, so it's putting a little pressure, I might lift it a little bit with a wire or something just so it holds it up better. But besides that, close up the hole, test for leaks, and we are good. Got everything hooked up. We can test the faucet now. But first use, you want to unscrew this so you don't clog up anything if you have any debris in the pipes. So I'm gonna open up the water and let's let it run. Now we can check our drain as well. So as long as you don't have any leaks, you are good to go. So get the faucet installed, all working properly. That's what the weight is for. Post this right back for you. Drain is all set up as well. No leaks. I would like to have this a little lower here, but our pipe is really high, the drain pipe. But I might redo this whole thing at some point. It's just way too much drop here. But for now it's working, everything's draining. So finishing touches and our kitchen is done. And here's the final product, guys. This is what the sink comes with. Foldable strainer. Pretty cool. Heavy, metal, like silicone covered. Cutting board with drainage. Sits in this gap here, which is pretty neat. Then we have the bottom rack, the decorative cover here, the strainer, and then the faucet itself, also Crow's brand. Very cool so far. The soap dispenser is awesome. Never had that. Really happy to have this now. A nice deep sink. Okay, so at this point, we got a sink, faucet all set up, countertops installed. Everything is sealed by the walls here. Now, last thing to do is we gotta treat this. So since we're gonna be using food on here, let's seal it with polyurethane and seal it with the Butcher Block oil. This is what you need, or something similar to it. I believe you gotta do this every 6 months or so. I'm gonna apply it in a second and show you guys the process. So give it a good mix. You're gonna apply with a soft cloth. Let it sit for 6 hours, and then you can do another coat. It's basically an oil. Has a little odor to it, but I'm sure that will fade away with time. Go against the grain, then with the grain to get it into all the grooves. But as you see, untreated, treated, looks gorgeous. So once you do this coat, wait 6 hours, do another coat, and then you want to wait actually 72 hours before regular use. And that will do it. I'll finish this up, show you guys the final product. And here's the final product. The Butcher Block oil is still drying, but as you see, it's gonna look great. The clear silicone looks good. Nice and solid now, 1.5 inches thick. The faucet setup came up really nice. I did the separate videos on the install of all this for you guys if you want to check it out. I'll put the link below with the soap dispenser and everything. You'll have to install the cup rinse thing. I'll do another video for that. And then this side. So yeah, solid improvement. Hopefully it will last years to come. Just gotta stay on top of oil on the Butcher Block every few months. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope this is helpful. Check out the channel for other how-to videos, this kitchen rebuild, and lots of other stuff. Thanks so much.